Hi, hello lovelies. So, I'm on camera today because, as of late we've been having riots in the street, we've been having protests, we've been having lines drawn on Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. And I remember about 2 years ago, I actually did a Facebook post going through statistics as far as Black Lives Matter and why it's this thing, what have you. And I thought about doing a video on that 2 years ago, but I figured now's the time. Pretty much what this is, it's not a malediction on white people. It's not to attack anybody or anything like that. It's not to come off as angry or having a chip on our shoulder or anything like that. Whatever, it's presenting the facts. And the facts, you can't dispute the facts. That's just what it is. What I'm hoping people get from this is an understanding of why we say what we say about Black Lives Matter and why we feel like it's such a prevalent thing. Because honestly, if Black lives don't matter, if Black lives matter, then all lives matter. That's just how it goes. So pretty much what we're looking at right now was statistics. I went to statistica.com to pull up the number of police-related killings from the past 4 years. So in 2017, 457 white people were killed by the police. 223 black people were killed by the police. 179 Hispanic people were killed by the police. 2018, white people 399, black people 209, Hispanic people 148. 2019, we jumped up to 370 for white people, 235 for black people, and 158 for Hispanic people. This year, as of March 30th, we've had 42 white people, 31 black people, and 13 Hispanic people. Now I'm going to focus primarily on the last 2 years. So in the last 2 years combined, 412 white people have been killed by the police. 266 black people have been killed by the police. 171 Hispanic people have been killed by the police. Now, people like to bring up the fact that white people do get killed by the police, and they get killed by the police in greater numbers than black people do. And that's true. Based on the numbers I've presented, that is very true. However, while gross numbers do matter, so does proportion. So according to population from 2019, there are 328.2 million people in the United States. Okay? 77% of them are considered to be white. 12% of them, 12.7, are black. Okay? 17.8% are Hispanic. So if you think about the bigger picture here, what we're looking at is a group of people who are essentially a little more, just a little bit more than 1/8 of the population, right? But if you look at the statistics, we're 1/8 of the population, yet we're almost a third, 33% of copulated deaths in 2019. If you look at 2020 thus far, again up till March 31st, we are over a third of the number of deaths. We're actually sitting at 36%. Okay, 85 total deaths, we're 31 of them. 763 deaths the year prior, we're 235 of them. That is what we're talking about. Proportionally speaking, we're getting killed in far greater numbers than our white and Hispanic counterparts. Our Hispanic counterparts have not fared well either. In 2019, they were 17-8% of the population. They were killed 20% of the time by the cops and went down to 15. So they've gotten lucky. But what we're looking at right now is again, this is not a malediction. This is not all cops are bad things. That's not the case. But what we're looking at right now is we're in a situation where a small fraction of the population is having the biggest problem. And instead of wanting to talk about it or face the uncomfortable truth, we're sitting there trying to race our way to the bottom. Well, what about white people? What about this? What about that? And granted, those are valid concerns. White people, they do have the right to say, hey, cops are killing us too. You absolutely have that right. But what we're saying is, right now, the concentration of the issue right now is why we make up 12.7% of the population of the United States of America, yet we in the last 2 years have been killed at 30% and 36% of the times that somebody's been killed by the police. That's a problem. Because if you think about it, we're 12.7% of the population. 30% is 2 1/4 times more than what we make up in percentage wise. 36% is 3 times more of that. So we're getting wiped out at higher, disproportionately higher numbers. That's what this is about. And I know there's some people out there that are gonna be like, oh well, there one bad cop shouldn't spoil the bunch, blah blah blah. But here's the thing: one bad cop is one bad cop too many. We can't sit there and excuse this behavior because we want to be pro flag and pro cop. That's not what this is about. Blue lives matter. This is not what it's about, because the fact of the matter is, you chose to be a blue life, not minimizing what you do, because honestly there are a lot of good cops out there. I'm related to a couple of good cops. But what I'm saying is, a lifestyle choice is different than a biological disposition. I didn't choose to be black. I didn't choose to be racially profiled. We don't choose that. It's put upon us. And there can be people that can say, oh, well, you guys just have a chip on your shoulder, you guys need to do better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's problematic, because again, it's not looking at the issue. The issue at hand is, the communities are not talking to each other, they're talking at each other, they're not listening. This is not a black issue, this is not a white issue, this is a very human issue. There's no reason why one group of our country is being wiped out in higher gross numbers, higher proportionate numbers than the other groups. There's no reason why, if you think about it, 50% of 2019, 50%, even though we don't make up 50% of the population of the people that were killed by the police were Hispanic or black. Cumulatively, we make up 30.5% of the population. That's it. Because if you think about it, when we look at demographics, 61.3% of the United States is quote unquote white. The 77% comes from the white and the non-white and the Hispanic and the white Hispanics, which is why I get that high number. But if you think about it, 30% of the country, or 50% of the killings of cop-related killings, 2019. Jump to 2020, they're 51%. So the number's gone up. That's why there's people in the streets protesting. That's why people are saying Black Lives Matter. For that matter, you can bring in the brown lives too. There's no reason why we make up less than half the population, yet we're making them half or more than half of the people being killed by the police. Hell, people want to bring up the bad cops and all stuff, whatever. There's no reason why in 2015 alone, 100 unarmed black men were killed by the police. There's no reason for that. It's not acceptable. And we can sit there and we can try to spin it in where you want to, whatever. But this is an issue. This is a systemic issue. This is an issue that needs attention. This is an issue that needs talking about. This is an issue that needs to be confronted head on, because again, these numbers do not lie. Proportionately, we are getting hit, and we're getting hit harder than any other group. And people can sit there and say, oh, it's not a black thing, it's just a myth, blah, blah, blah. Then how do you dispute the numbers? How could you sit there and tell me, because I do have a lot of white friends, how could you sit there and tell me, based on these numbers, that there's not a problem? Can't do it. Unless you choose not to, unless you don't want to. And it saddens me that we have to have these kind of conversations, and it saddens me that there's this lack of understanding or lack of wanting to understand the other side of it, whatever. It's just like, oh well, I have the complexion for the protection, and that's all that matters. Because honestly, I'm gonna keep it real, no offense white people, I love you, but a lot of white people were like, oh well, it's the cops all that matters, don't attack the cops. I'm like, yeah, but the cops are attacking us. Okay, and I noticed that a lot of minorities who fall into this all lives matter issue as well, or minorities who happen to be dating people or married to people with the complexion for the protection. But they're going to find out the hard way that guess what? It doesn't matter who you're married to or who you're dating, whatever. You can very well become a statistic just like all these other people. Okay, again, if there's a house on fire, I've said this before many times. If there's a house on fire, yes, all the houses on the block matter. Absolutely, 100% they matter. But that house right there, the one that's actually having the severe damage done to it, needs attending to. If I have brain cancer, yes, all cancers matter. But I'm dealing with right now a very, very strong strain of the cancer, whatever, and so this is what needs attending to. If somebody fell down and broke their leg, and I look at the ground and I'm like, hey, help this person, you can't sit there and be like, well, what about my legs too? Because right now, that's not the urgent issue. Not that it's not an issue, because it is an issue. Caught killing people, period, is a problem. But when you look at the proportionate numbers, whatever, there's a huge problem that we're not dealing with. And people can dress it up however they want to, but that's just what it is. And I don't want to hear any more about there's good cops out there. Yeah, there are good cops out there. There's no doubt about that, whatever. But this is going to get anecdotal. There's no reason why that people who are sworn to protect and serve me are people who instill the most fear in me. There's no reason why people who protect and serve me are the face of my greatest fears. There's no reason to justify that. And a lot of Black people feel that way. A lot of Hispanic people feel that way. I can't say too many white people, and correct me if I'm wrong, feel that way. What it comes down to. And again, one bad cop is enough. Let's just look at, again, 2015, 100 unarmed Black men, which means at least 100 cops, 100 bad cops in 2015 alone. At least 763 bad cops in 2019 if you count up all the deaths combined. Because, usually there's more than one police officer. Plus another 85. So it's like we can sit there and say, oh yeah, one bad cop, but there's no reason why 848 bad cops should not be held accountable for these deaths. And there's no reason why some structuring should not be changed about to accommodate this issue. None whatsoever. Period. Full stop. Because if there were 848 bad employees for any company, anywhere in the world, Disney World, you name it, there'd be some structuring going on. There'd be some restructuring going on. If there were 848 bad pilots out there, you better trust and believe all the airlines will be trying to fix that shit quickly. So why is it okay for us to have 848 bad cops, at least in the past 2 years, and we're supposed to just shrug that off? They're supposed to be there for our protection, not for our demise. We shouldn't be in our bed sleeping, getting killed. We shouldn't be playing video games with our nephews, being killed. We shouldn't be begging you not to kill us on the ground for 10 minutes. We shouldn't be 12-year-old boys with little water pistols or toy guns getting shot to death. That's what this is about. And the sooner we understand it, the better. Again, I don't subscribe to rioting personally. For me, it's not my thing because, I believe in karma and I don't want that bad juju on me should somebody get hurt because of my actions. But I understand it. I get it. Because I live with that same fear and that same anger, that same hurt that all those people, or a lot of those people, I should say, are feeling. But I do find it ironic that it's okay to have some bad cops, but it's not okay to have some bad protesters. Because the peaceful ones get no rap whatsoever. But the bad ones, they're all like that. They're all thugs. They're all angry. This, and this. Well, where's that energy for, where's that energy for the good protesters? There is none. So we need to really sit there and figure out what it is that we need to do for ourselves. Because right now we're picking sides. We're not listening. We're not being honest, factually or otherwise. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that's what it is. Those are the stats. If you want to look them up, again, go to statistica.com. They have them there for you. You can read them yourself. You can have that conversation. Hopefully this conversation will be a productive one, and we're not just sitting there pointing fingers and allotting blame and saying, oh, you were this, and this, and you shouldn't, blah, 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 because we're not getting anything done right now. There's a bad psychic energy in this country right now. There's a bad psychic energy in this world right now, and we need to do something about that. We need to fix that now. First step, listen to each other. Ask as an ally to whether you're a black to white ally, white to black ally, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? Maybe to understand something or to need help. I've had allies come to me and say, what do you need from us? Empathy and to pay attention to the facts that we are telling you. If you choose not to, then you're complicit in the problem. And if you don't want to be branded with that brush, then wake the fuck up. Period. That note, namaste.